Season 7, episode 15, Inami. Inami. All right, so we have another smoking man centric episode here with Scully. This episode probably features my favorite shot of the entire show. I was actually pretty surprised by it. I kind of like reacted out loud in front of my kids, which I didn't even mean to do because I don't know, like I thought I was like fantasizing for a second or something. But we have this like extreme close up of Scully's cleavage, and
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like adjusting her
She's
microphone,
putting like a wire
but
in.
she is like
It's
it's
like the
a
full shot
very
of her.
low cut cleavage top, and
Yeah.
it's like the whole screen
No,
is
it's
just her cleavage
it's
and like a little bit of her face, and it was like really pushed into her tits, and I was
she
like,
has a button up
whoa.
top that's buttoned down
Yeah,
so that she can adjust the
yeah,
microphone and then her bra and it's like in between her boobs.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's like the most skin we've ever gotten from Scully
by
um
far.
by far. So that
And
was a very unexpected shot for sure.
very, because
Um
like she comes up against the camera.
it's an intentional, like, I get that they're trying to show that she's got a mic, but it's like you could totally do that without
Oh,
having her
100%.
unbutton it. Like you could just have her pull it up and like, whatever, just show that it's there or something. But yeah, it's really
Episode
funny.
directed by Jason
Yeah,
Smith.
pretty much.
It was ridiculous. I
Yeah,
was like, okay, whoever directed this episode, I wonder if Gillian Anderson was like,
probably.
really?
She's like, guys,
Do we have to get that close?
yeah. Um, she has a nice chest area. She's a very beautiful woman.
She is indeed.
So yeah.
Okay, so we're dealing with another chip in the neck. And the smoking man tells Scully that he's dying and he wants to share this technology with her to save the world.
I actually really hated this episode because this is like what I was saying a few episodes ago, where this is just what the Smoky Man does. He just lies. He just lies all the time. And
Yep.
I feel like Scully has fallen for his lies so much more than Mulder has. Because like Mulder was falling in the beginning, like he was like, okay, I want to believe, like I'm gonna, but then like he caught on pretty quick, and now he like doesn't trust anything that the Smoky Man says, which is the correct thing to do. But Scully still lets herself get roped into stuff sometimes when it
Now,
comes to that like
uh,
area.
I actually somewhat believe that Scully would fall for this because Scully was on her deathbed. She was
Mm,
done for. It was over for her.
yeah,
They installed this thing in her neck, and then she did a miraculous turnaround, which goes against scientific explanation.
yeah,
And as you know, Scully being a scientist and her taking the Hippocratic oath and having this innate desire to fix people,
yeah,
right? Like that's part of her whole driving force. Remember the El Chupacabra episode
yeah,
where Mulder's like, well, who cares about these people? And she's like, well, I do.
right.
She very much cares about saving people first and foremost. And with her prior knowledge and exposure to this technology, I do think she is going against her um you know better
Better judgment.
better
Yeah,
judgments, right? And but so much so though that the reason that this is even more believable to me is that knowing this goes against her better judgments, she is leaving a breadcrumb trail to Mulder in the mail because she knows that more than likely
this is like
she is being set
right.
up, she is being taken advantage of, but the you know the treasure at the end of the trail is worth the risk to
Mm-hmm.
her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she could save everyone from every fucking disease. To her, that technology is worth the risk. So to me, it's like she's cautious. She takes the precautionary measures
Yeah.
of sending Mulder all of this. Now, of course, CGB Skinner is ahead of her and has a guy following behind and intercepting all of these communications
Mm-hmm.
before Mulder can even get them.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually believe that Scully would fall for this, but the fact that the smoking man is just using Scully ultimately to get the technology for himself,
Mm.
this feels very, I don't know. He's all over the place. I don't know what to think of him. But yeah, she needs to, if she ever believes him from here on,
Yes, then you're like,
then
come
it's
on,
over.
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
Shame
shame
on
on you
me.
also.
Yeah. No, she
Shame on me.
shame on me and
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Which is what the saying should be. There should be blame put on the
Yeah.
person
Like, why are
who
you trying to
shames
fool
you.
me again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually believe it to a degree. Um, Either that or I was so mesmerized by her cleavage that I was like,
You're like,
whatever she
whatever is
says.
happening, I don't care.
No. I think my argument is sound.
I think so too. I guess you're right, but it's just it does yeah, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. Because yeah, by the end of this episode, I mean like when Mulder like and her like they go back to the office building and it's cleared out, like
Yeah.
it's empty and she's just like,
I mean, what a ruse.
"Oh man." Yeah,
How
like
many people were
a
in on
whole
this?
well, he's just like that's just it, right? The smoking man is that shadow government that has so much like so many resources and everything at their disposal.
It
So much
doesn't
money.
feel like that
It
though,
doesn't, but
because he
that's
gets
what it
ousted
is.
by those guys, and then all those guys get killed by the bounty hunter aliens, in that one episode. And I felt like their organization was
Was
pretty much
destroyed. Now
squashed.
it's just him.
And it's like, it's just him, but being funded by who?
I don't know.
Like who pays for his, elaborate ruses to be able to take an entire building like this,
Yeah.
to have a full working staff, a whole working building of
Yeah.
people who are literally just there posing as a government, like an unofficial government agency,
Mhm.
to take it to that whole like level. Where is he getting the funding for such a thing?
I don't know. The US tax dollars somehow.
Well, sure, it's supposed to be like that scene in Independence Day when he's like, you don't think they actually pay $20,000 for a hammer, do you?
Yeah.
Like, I get that, but like, I don't know who's funding this.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't have an answer, but that's like yeah. He's just got unlimited resources somehow.
There is a funny scene in this where Mulder is being let into Scully's apartment by her super,
Yes.
and he says like, people like the fact that there's an FBI
Right.
agent in the building,
Makes him feel
makes them
safe.
feel safe. And then Mulder rightly points out, as I thought right in that moment, like multiple people have died here
Yeah.
in this room because of
Yeah.
that, and multiple like break-ins have happened.
Yes.
Scully's been taken from her
Right.
apartment or held hostage in her apartment multiple times. Her sister was killed in her apartment. Like, I was trying to think of like all the people who have died in her apartment,
I know.
and I'm like, Toombs broke into her
Sure.
apartment. That dude,
Yeah.
Donnie,
These
broke
are
into
all
her
the new tenants.
apartment.
All the new tenants are like, "Oh yeah, an FBI
The people who
agent."
have been there for a week,
Yeah, they're like, "That's great." And then the people that have been there for like 3 years are like,
they're
"I
like,
I need to move like yesterday."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then even the writer was trying to move into her
I
apartment,
know,
but
but there was no
yeah,
openings.
moved into Mulder's instead. I guess there's no openings because everyone wants to live next to the FBI agent who's cursed and
Right.
has like dealing with like voodoo curses and
Yeah.
alien abductions. And if they knew,
Oh,
they
if
would
they
be so
knew, they'd be
far
like,
away from
"We're
her.
not living anywhere near her."
Supposedly, um I have his name as CGB Skinner.
That's funny.
That's not what it is.
CGB Skinner.
Skinner. It's what is it again? Spender.
Spender, yeah.
Spender. He introduces Scully to a supposedly 118-year-old woman. You think that
Oh,
woman's
right.
actually 118?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. She's like 70 or 80 probably.
Something that I was reminded of in this episode that I haven't thought about in a long while is pump then pay gas stations.
Yeah, that was never a thing when
That
I was
was a thing when I was a
that
kid
I
in
remember at least.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Not in California, but when I used to come to my dad's house in Arizona in the 80s and
Yeah.
in the 90s, the early 90s,
You would
my
pump
dad
and
used
then
to
pay.
go pump, and then he would go and pay for it.
So much gas had to have been stolen that way.
It has to have been.
Oh my gosh.
It has to have been.
Yeah.
You
It's
would
kind
walk
of
up
crazy that that was ever even,
a thing.
yeah.
Well,
You would
before
think that
that,
they
you
had an attendant
you
come
have
out.
an
Yeah.
attendant pump it for you.
Right. Right.
And then they would like pay they would pump it, and then they'd be like, all right, sir, that's $1.25.
100. They'd be like, 2 pennies, please.
Yeah. You got 18 gallons, that'll be 2 cents. Whatever that math works out
Yeah.
to. But yeah, so I haven't thought about those in a long time. We get the lone gunman in disguise here.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty funny. We get Scully in a dress. I feel like whoever directed this
Yeah,
episode was in love with Gillian
I think
Anderson.
so. We've never seen her like in anything like this. I think the closest would maybe be the triangle episode when she's like dressed up, but it's like a, it's
She's
period
dressed up
piece.
for her date in the Jersey Devil
Oh,
episode.
sure. That's so many seasons ago,
That's the
though.
first season. That's like
Yeah.
episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. I don't remember what she was wearing, though, but it wasn't like this dress. Like, this is like a sexy little black dress that she looks beautiful in.
Obviously.
And yeah, the
Yeah.
guy, one of the things that was messed up about this episode is that, so like, the smoking man has been impersonating Scully, like, through email correspondence with the contact who's giving him that information, like the drive or whatever. And the guy says something like when they get into the boat, he's like, I wish we had more time. Like, he says, I can't remember what he says exactly, but it's like,
Oh, there's a flirtation going
yes,
on
he's like, I
between
wish
them.
that we could like be alone together, or like something like
He
that.
must have thought he hit the fucking lottery when he saw
that
Scully.
means that
Like,
he was
this is who I've been
probably, yeah,
talking
like
to?
flirting with him and like
Yeah.
making him think, like, because that was like part of the ploy is like, I'm a man, you're a woman, right? Like that kind of thing going on.
It's possible they were sending pictures. Because they
Totally.
have pictures of Scully.
Yeah, they'd be like,
right?
this is me
This is me.
being catfish.
But if you were doing like a correspondence, like an online correspondence or a mail correspondence, like a pen pal type of situation, which they always made us do in middle school or grade school. You did pen paling, which I always thought was a really cool idea when I was a kid.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But if I was to do an online correspondence with a girl who I was like all about, and then I was to get there and she looked like Gillian Anderson, I would have literally thought like, okay, I'm being had.
Well,
what's no
sad
way
is that like she's like, who are you? Like, I don't think we've ever met. And then he dies. Like, he gets killed like right
shot.
after, and it's like,
and
his heart had to have just broken in half and been like, oh my
because
god,
of a bullet.
Yeah. Not only was he like, conned, but then he was like, I thought I just met the love of my life.
Sure.
So sad. It's really messed up.
And once again, even this is the complexity, we'll say, of the smoking man, CGB Spender, he once again, even though he doesn't have to, and actually it doesn't serve him to do so, he saves Scully's life.
Yeah, I think you had said, I don't know if you said it when we were watching this episode or in like some other review we did, but that he kind of looks at like Mulder and Scully as his children in a weird way. So there is like an odd protectiveness to him, but also always manipulation, and ultimately he's become a very selfish man. So yeah,
I feel like Mulder is his kid supposedly, right?
Yes.
And I think he sees Scully as Mulder's like girlfriend or wife.
Right. There's that aspect where it's like he knows how important Scully is to Mulder, because he said multiple times that like if Mulder, like especially now, he said this back when his mom was still alive, like right after his dad died, where he was like, we can't take everything away from him, because like if he has nothing, like that's when he'll be his most dangerous, right? Like he's got nothing to lose. And so now Scully really is the last thing he has to lose, to like really lose it. And yeah, so I think he's also aware of that. But yes, he could have just let her die.
Yeah,
would have probably like been the thing to do.
Yep. So this is yet another Scully centric episode. As I said, it's really Smoking Man as well, but this is another episode where Mulder is pretty much absent. They love to do these like random episodes where they just focus on one versus
Yeah,
the other. It's
just
almost
makes me
like
think
they're
that
giving them the day off.
yeah, it just makes me think that they're like unavailable or doing something else or whatever, like the other actor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well,
yep,
before it was they were
the
filming the
movie,
movie,
right?
but I
But
think with this, I think Mulder or David Duchovny at this point was kind of done with the show.
mm,
This is why he leaves at the end of this season.
mm-hmm.
Um, he comes back here and there. I'm super curious to see how much Mulder is in it, and I'm also curious to see if my kids are gonna want to continue to watch it without Mulder.
I have a very strong feeling that they will not.
Yeah, me too.
I think they'll watch a few episodes with us, and I think they will have no interest at all in it, especially because, like we've talked about, the show is just not that interesting with the through lines.
No,
Is it possible that there will be something added? Yes, but I think they're probably going to stick with a lot of the same like monster of the week stuff. It's not going to be the same dynamic, and now there's also going to be like Mulder was abducted and is like it's just going to feel really weird. And you know, you guys are watching Lost, and Lost has a much more compelling and interesting story. So
absolutely,
yeah,
without question.
you'll have to do a Lost review at
Um,
the end with the girls.
what's thrown in the lake?
The like the disk drive that has like all the information on it.
Who throws it in the lake?
The Smoking Man.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so what did he want?
Um,
He just wanted the technology out of everyone's hands.
yeah,
So he dooms the world.
yeah,
So he's Joel.
he sucks. No, he's not Joel. Joel doesn't suck. Joel's got issues, but yeah. Yep. So that's that. That's that episode.
Yeah.
Let us know.
See you in the comments.
Bye.